New phone, who this? Mm. Frame rate slowed down and improved video quality. Either way. So, not literally, dead ass, new phone, who this? So, I'm gonna try to be better about being grateful throughout this video because, to be honest, for as much as I bitch, I literally stopped to think about it. Because if you don't know this whole story, even I don't know the whole fucking story because my name's Ethan, but what does it say on my birth certificate? Which one? Why do I have two? Exactly. So let's sit here, little kids and those that don't know preferred pronouns to adults and those that believe and don't believe. I am a believer. And what I mean by that is because we all use the same words interchangeably, meaning different things. Is I will believe whatever the fuck you tell me to. So for the fact that you choose lie to me just means that the credited source that I chose was you, which I thought was a credible source, but due to whatever reasoning, you choose to be deceitful towards me as if I'm trying to be out against you. But in reality, I don't care much for life. I'm 100% honest. I'm not trying to say like, oh, I'm gonna try to kill you or I'm gonna try to kill myself. At the end of the day, what I'm trying to figure out is, what's the point of existence? What's the point of being a human? Like ever since I came, can't necessarily say to Earth, but it sounds like I want to say that. But ever since I came, I've been questioning, looking at my hands, looking at my feet. I'm originally from Haiti. I was raised and adopted by a Caucasian family. The female of the house was a nurse. The male of the house used to be Navy. He used to work for this production company. I can't necessarily remember what it was. I think it's called Oxford or some shit like that. And she did in-home healthcare on and off, but most of them were basically unemployed all of my life. Most of my drive and work determination came from watching my siblings. One of them that actually end up going to prison because of the way that his mind works and the way that we weren't really structuralized growing up and all this and all that. I might go into detail, I may not. Like I've told bits and parts of these stories, but I'm gonna try to get a full encompassing origin story on me because I don't have one of those. And like ain't nobody gonna know. I don't even know my own origin story. I shit you not. So continuously. So like growing up in that environment where there's a bunch of mentally and or physically disabled siblings ranging from fetal alcohol syndrome, autism, many different forms of autism, shaken baby syndrome, cerebral palsy. I'm trying to blank now. I don't know why. And just all these variations of disabilities that do or don't look the same. And it's just confusing me because on top of seeing the mental and abnormalities, I was able to see some other siblings that had physical abnormalities, like a double amputee. That wasn't because of a war or anything like that. Like literally from the knees down, had none. No legs is what I'm getting at. Not had none. None what? No legs. As well as kids with tumors, kids with hydrocephalic heads. And if you don't know what hydrocephalic means, it means that they have a bunch of water inside of their head. And well, not necessarily a bunch of, but like the ones that I saw, like it was noticeably, it wasn't like, oh, your head's a little bit big. It's like, oh my God. No, we all have round heads, which isn't fucking true. But growing up, I believe whatever the fuck anybody told me back then. Now it's a little bit more discernment, but at the same time, like I want to believe the truth that you are saying. But if it's not true, I trust that the universe will always figure it out for me. Except I don't fucking know what's going on half the fucking time. I just know shit's retarded. And humans are logical and illogical at the same time, but like regardless of the point. So I got very comfortable seeing what most people are uncomfortable seeing. Like I basically, I say this a lot of times. I grew up in a little asylum essentially, and that's because the easiest way I can compare this is like in a work environment, and that's how I kind of think of a lot of things. It's just like work, because I feel like I know how to work a lot better than I know how to live. But outside of work, I'm just like, I know technically speaking, it's illegal to overwork me and all this and all that, but like I'd work 7, 8, 9. I'd work 10 days a week if you wanted me to. And I know there's only 7 days inside of a week, but I'm just saying work makes more sense than life does, and that's because work is structuralized. But I don't like the structure and the unstructure of it because it's a lot of the whole entire. Like if you're under the wrong supervision, you don't even want to fucking tie your own shoes. And how hard is it to tie your shoes? Regardless, how about if I switch to Velcro? Because some people, like, it took me forever to fucking learn how to tie my shoes. It took me forever to learn my lesson rights. It took me forever to learn when my birthday was. I was definitely a delayed learner. So when people call me smart, I'm just like, no, no, no. I'm not smart. I've just learned how to recognize a lot of patterns. I just regurgitate a lot of the information that I know. Like, I remember a lot of the things I remember seeing said as that is what it is compared to sitting there and learning what makes that. I know it makes no sense. I sat and learned, okay, so what's something that could be easily known as a pattern? Mm. When you talk back to your parents, 9 times out of 10, you're gonna get hit. Not in every family. you're gonna get cussed at. Not every family, you're gonna get some sort of repercussions, essentially what I'm getting at. So I figured, don't ever talk back to a parent. Now, is that 100% true? No, like I said, as time progressed, I've come to learn there's no one size fits all for all types of treatment. Everybody is different, and not one person is represented for a whole entire group. That one person is only represented for who they are individually, who they are, like maybe their upbringing, but at the same time, I only speak for Ethan Florence Swarthout, Florin Oriel Bernard Janice, birth name as well as my American name. So do not take any of this information, try apply Ethan's information or Florin's information onto somebody else. Like, yeah, some of it might be similar, some of it might help you grasp and get to be able to feel more comfortable around somebody different, but at the same time, there's no one size fits all for anything. Like, for the fact that I'm disabled, most people will never believe it, which is why I always tell them about my heart thing, because I don't even know what's going on here mentally. But at the same time, I know if I do figure out what's going on here mentally, now they're going to be like, no, now you can't do this, now you can't do that. Bitch, I wasn't supposed to be able to do half the things I do now physically. You're not going to tell me what I can or can't do. I figure out my own reasons, my own laws, my own rules of what I will and will not do. And what I won't do is I ain't molesting no motherfucking kids. What I'm not going to do is I ain't kidnapping no motherfucking kids. What I'm not going to do is abuse people with my fucking energy because I don't get what the fuck they're saying. What I'm not going to do is rape people. What I'm not going to do is molest people. What I'm not going to do is cause harm to others knowingly. But I will admit, unknowingly, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. But if you speak up about it and I respect you and you respect me, of course I'm going to work with you. But if you don't respect me but want me to respect you, yeah, we got a little bit of a problem. If you want to murder me, please, by all means, do. I am suicidal. 100%. I think existence is bullshit. And I get that life is supposed to be about the experience and all life is precious. But how many bugs have you killed today? I know life is supposed to be precious, but how many times have you told a kid to shut up? Or how many times have you ignored something? How many times have you just ignored life for its precious things? How many plants have you killed? How many insects have you killed? How many times have you... Because life is only as precious as the person that is observing life to believe it to be. And I do believe life is precious, but I also lean over towards fuck it. And like I have a lot of... an unstable identity, essentially, I guess is what I'm getting at, or an unstable thought process. But I still choose consciously to not harm people. But I also am aware that I'm not always quite sure what harming looks like, but I've taken into my own hands to believe that harming looks like I actually have to physically hit somebody and or verbally say something. Like, I know what, or at least what I perceive to be an insult. Like, if somebody said I looked ugly, I'm not going to believe you, for one, because I'm just like, come on. Just kind of your cup of tea, which I'm not tea for the record. I'm fucking like vodka mixed with acid and peyote and some shit like that. I'm not what you think you fucking drinking. I'm packaged pretty so people come up to me. I'm not necessarily pretty on the inside because what do you expect from somebody that was born Haitian, raised American, inside of a little asylum with mentally, physically disabled siblings, growing up in a small Caucasian area? Like, I would say my upbringing wasn't horrible, but it's not something I'd ever want any of my kids to have. Because, like, but then again, who am I to judge what fucking horrible is? Because, like, yeah, I was molested. I was lied to a lot. And I was raped, but that was a little bit later. And it wasn't like I was penetrated rape. It was she didn't respect my no rape. And I'm just like, if it is, that's not gonna help them nowhere. Fuck it, just don't talk about it. So it's just like, I figure, because that's the way I was brought up, and I know that's not the fucking thing about it. I figured growing up, right, and that's how I hold myself, and that's not healthy whatsoever, is if there's no bones, I don't ever see my bone. If I'm not bleeding, if I'm bleeding, if I can still move, and it's like, to me, pain is more of an annoying thing. Like, there's a pulsating pain, there's like the pinching pain, there's the, oh, I forgot I was in pain until I applied pressure pain. There's the, it looks worse than it really is type of pain for me. And it's just like, I realize I have an unhealthy connection to a lot of things that other people have healthy connections with. Like, when it comes to pain, when it comes to reality, when it comes to love, when it comes to friendships. Like, I don't know, I kind of think of myself like a fucking robot sometimes. Or just like, I feel like an alien inside my own skin. Like, I don't feel like I should be. And I think that's just because I've spent so much time inside my head and trying to socialize with others. And just because I'm good for the community doesn't mean that the community is good for me. And just because it's a community, it doesn't mean it's a good community, which is essentially the exact same thing I said, just differently. But I realized while growing up why they said it takes a village to raise a child, because I spent a lot of time, believe it or not, and I will say this, I've said it in a lot of videos, honestly, I spent a lot of time alone. And how I say that is like, it doesn't matter if there's a bunch of people in the room or not. You could still fucking be alone and unseen. Because there's been, I don't know, I haven't been to parties, but I've heard stories about parties, how things happen. I'm like, how the fuck is there like 50 people in the room, 60 people in the room, 80 people in the room, 90 people? I don't know how many people in the room. And I know at least most people have two eyes. So it's like, even the 50 people in the room, 100 eyes, and you're telling me nobody saw shit. That's 100% plausible. Depending on the time span, it's either they're watching their cell phone, they're more interested in the significant other or the person that they're trying to pursue, they're more interested in trying to disassociate and escape in the world. Like we all have two encompassing, because I don't believe that actually fully. I do not fully believe that we all have our own unique individual lives that we are living. I used to be honest, but then I've met a lot of people where it's just like, I refuse to believe that you're alive. Like how I think about it, because I grew up on video games, is there's the games that you can play that is orchestrated to be on that game plan that the designers built. And then there's another version of the game where you could play online. And I feel like for some of us, we have that gameplay on online mode, me. And then some of us, there's only that gameplay version, so you can't play the game past its campaign. And it's like once the campaign's done, the game is done. But how can you tell who is playing a game that only has a campaign compared to who has a game that has a campaign as well as online quirks? And I don't know, I just figure those I get along with are the ones that have, like, that I actually get along with outside of professionalisms and all this and all that, because I've learned how to perceive and be perceived in reality and how I come off, because I like to listen to the reviews. I don't always believe them to be true, but like I like to hear what people have to say about me. Not always the case, but like I want to know how can I fix myself to fit better into this without having to completely, because like I feel as if the complete answer to be a successful person in life is you have to not give a shit about anybody aside from yourself and just push just about anybody and everybody away that doesn't benefit your life or your purpose. And that seems simple on paper, but at the same time I realize to enact that stuff is just kind of psychotic or sociopathic, or it's just like they're Ethan didn't talk to her because she was wearing shorts above the knee. Ethan didn't talk to her because she had one stray hair. Ethan didn't talk to her because he didn't like her approach. Ethan's an asshole is essentially what we're getting at. So like, I'm sorry. Like I know that there's more opening and freeing and honest people to be around, but Ethan, he's just a very difficult person to be around. And I realize, would I want to hear stories about that, or would I rather want to hear stories about, yeah, I don't know what the fuck's wrong with him. Like Ethan literally talked to some shirtless dude with fucking brown mud all up on him. Like I think it was mud, but it didn't smell like mud. It did not smell like mud. Ethan was out there talking to some person tattooed from head to toe. I don't know what the fuck they were talking about, but he was doing that. Yeah, Ethan doesn't even know this kid, but he literally played soccer with the kid for like 15 to 20 minutes. Like, and he told me this was his first time fucking meeting the kid. Yeah, Ethan just gave his shirt to somebody. Like, now he can't go shopping anymore. Like, what the fuck was Ethan thinking? There's multiple ways to be perceived. There's multiple ways to be seen, and I'm trying to be seen. Not at all, to be honest, but like, if you had to tell stories about me, I would rather want to listen compared to like, no, please don't. No, don't fucking remind me. Don't remind me. Don't remind me. And I do have stories like that. But I also have plenty of stories where it's just like, really? I did that? Honestly, it does sound like something I would do. Well, thank you. Which is also another reason why I like to record and make videos and take photos, because the fucking mind's or at least my mind's a fucking but the mind itself is just such a fucking weird, bizarre, scary, expansive, small, just such a different place to be in, or just such a different thing. And for all of us to have, or to, I assume, all of us to have minds is bizarre. But I realize how there's different search engines. That's basically how our mind works. Like there's smoother minds, there's smoother working minds, there's higher processing minds, there's minds that are basically broken, there are minds that are basically only dark web type of shit. And it's just, the more that I communicate for as open as free as I believe that I can be, the more that I realize I kind of scare and creep out people because I am comfortable about talking about anything and everything. Like, I'll talk about death like I'm a fucking mortician and shit like that. Like, I am not creeped out by death. I believe death is literally a part of existence. Without death, life would not really mean much. Because are you telling me I'm born and I never die? That's gonna be boring trying to figure out how to kill myself if I can't die. I can literally do whatever the fuck I want to. I guess the only other thing I did fear is imprisonment, because you're telling me I'm not gonna die, but I'm gonna be stuck here for 120 years. Fuck me, because I'm actually gonna have to experience those 120 years compared to, oh, I'm here for 120 years, but you know damn well I'm gonna clock at like 69, 70, or I don't know, no later than 100. And me personally, because I have heart issues and shit like that, I don't believe I will be alive longer than, I don't want to be alive longer than 40 because I don't want to finger up my ass. And that's not because I'm homophobic, because I'm afraid I'm going to like it. I'm kidding. I know where the G spot is. Either way, I don't know. I don't know why the fuck. I just always kept that as my main line of why I don't want to make it to 40 is because I don't want to fucking finger up my ass. I've yet to this day, at the age of 26, as I'm currently recording this, I'm pretty vanilla in bed. Like, yeah, I'll choke her, I'll smack her ass, I'll pull her hair. But I'm not doing anal because then I might as well go towards dudes. As well as, no, you're never shoving a finger up my ass. Because I've had females ask me that. I'm like, oh, that's cute that you feel comfortable enough to ask me. What the fuck is wrong with you, though? Oh, hell no. That bitch an exit, not an entrance. So, back to the point. There really wasn't one, because that's the origin story, and for the fact that I'm just talking how I normally would talk, it goes to show how my mind is, because sticking on a topic, that's funny. It's hilarious. That's hilarious. So, trying to figure out who I am and where I fit in has been just my biggest goal. Not necessarily the whole entire time. Like, I would say from about 3 to 23, so about 20 years of my time, maybe 19 years, either way. 3 to 23, because I trying to think of my passport, says 2001, November 15th. So, and I'm 2 years older than the actual year in November, and my birthday, to my knowledge, because that fucks with me too, because like I said, I didn't know when my birthday was for the longest time, so I would ask them. And what I came to learn, because I eventually went through the archives of the paperwork, which I cannot touch anymore after 2023 fiasco and all this and all that, I probably should have, none of the videos would have been able to post because they're government paperwork and all this and all that. But either way, so I went through and eventually, like, I was told my birthday was 2/25/1998, and I just wanted to make sure it was that. But what I also realized is people can fabricate records if they need to or want to. So I don't necessarily know how old I really am. And that kind of bugs me a little bit, because I know I was in an orphanage in Haiti. I don't know what hospital I was fucking born in Haiti. I kind of have an idea of a city, and that's because I went through the paperwork. Because when I asked them, they didn't know anything aside from the fact, or at least from what I was told by the late, which I came to learn a lot later in life, that she's a pathological liar and she's not really aware of this reality half the time. So it's just like, yeah, you could be nice to her, but she doesn't know what nice means. Either way, she doesn't know what manipulation means. Either way, so I learned it was like Montessori or something like that, or Montor Montres, I think. I don't fucking know. The language barrier, I'm probably butchering it. Either way, I figured out where it was at some point or another, and I think I figured out some of the judges' names and stuff like that, but like, language barrier, language barrier, language barrier. See, that's one thing I dislike about being a fucking foreign adoptee, because I don't know the language. And like, yeah, you could be like, oh, why don't you learn it? Why don't you learn it? Because there's already so much shit going up in this fucking head. If I can clear this out, maybe I would learn another language. But one of my biggest fears about learning different languages, what am I going to be saying? And will I be thinking in English, or will I randomly start switching to French or Spanish? Or, because I've thought about learning French and Spanish, as well as, no, honestly, those were the only two I cared about learning. Don't know why. Maybe it's because of the way that the Creole dialect is made up. But Those were the only two that I actually cared about learning. The rest I don't really give a shit. Even though technically speaking, I should probably focus on learning Spanish and Chinese just due to the fact that, or French, not French, Chinese, Spanish, and what do the Indians speak? Not gonna say what I thought I was gonna say because I'm not gonna pronounce it correctly. Fuck it, we're gonna say it anyway. Punjabi, or is that the dance? I don't know why the fuck that popped in my head, but that was the thought. Either way, because the reasons why is because statistically they're the biggest well, not necessarily the Spanish being the biggest population, but what I've come to learn in America is you see a lot of things in Spanish as well as you see a lot of things in Chinese, and I just know India has a huge population, as well as China has a huge population. Now, Spanish, like I said, it's in America. Regardless if they admit it or not, we love, who's we? I'm Haitian. Regardless if they admit it or not, they love their immigrants. They just want to admit it publicly. But privately, who else is going to get the shit built? I'm just saying. I know what the fuck this country is founded upon, which is why it completely upsets me when they teach us, now that I've garnered more information, that violence isn't the answer, and it's just like, Great Britain, I'm going to just leave it there. Germany, I'm going to just leave it there. North versus South, I'm going to just leave it there. Or are you guys not as educated? Because I went through the same school systems as you guys did. I don't flipping know. I went to American schools, and I would say I learned more in personal life than I did in school system. But I also feel like for the fact that I am an immigrant, I really, really, really learned the information compared to those that were born here knowing the information. It's basically like, what's the well, there's a word for it, but that's not what I'm looking for. It's one man's trash is another man's treasure, and I realize that when I treasure the country that I am stuck in, well, not stuck in, while I am treasuring the country that is fostering me, you think it's trash because, well, come on, I was born here. Okay, who's your first president? Everybody knows that's the answer. Who's your second president? Oh, everybody knows that answer. Who's the third president? Well, actually, I question if they got it confused, or am I going to get confused? Either way, I remember it's Washington, Adams, and Jefferson, if that's the correct answer. Or it was Washington, Jefferson, then Adams, but I'm pretty sure Adams was the second one. I already knew Washington was number one, but like, or is he really number one? We're not gonna jump into conspiracy theories. That's for a different fucking video. We're talking about me and my origin and what makes me who I am and why I want to be, and blah blah this and blah blah that. I only want to be deceased. That's honestly my biggest goal. Everything else is just kind of just I'm doing it, not on purpose. I just can't. I can't fail. Without sounding narcissistic about it, I can't fucking fail. And this is why I believe I can't fail, is because how the fuck was I born with heart issues, given a life expectancy at 10 of 10? I'm 26. How the fuck was I born with heart issues into a country that didn't have the medical needs to be able to take care of me? Come to this country with a procedure that they've never done before. Estimated to take 8 hours, did it in 4. I don't know how much time they expect me to recover, but I was like, I was down one day. I was running the halls from the stories I've been told the fucking next day. I've been running ever since the second day of surgery. Well, since the day after surgery. And I don't really know what it means to slow down. I've always been taught to speed up, speed up, speed up, speed up, speed up, speed up. And I've always been told and screamed at to slow down, but I'm just like, and I tell people this, and I try to sound joking just because nobody wants to hear the dark and depressive shit that comes out of my mouth most of the times. But I say, if I stop moving, I'm just going to want to kill myself. And that's because if I stop moving, I realize we have animals that are in captivity, and we'll say it's just so we can take care of them. We have humans that are in captivity, and yet again, we'll say it's just to help them. But we also have humans that are on the streets with buildings that are being demolished. We also have more than enough food and resources, but we'll say it's because of lawsuits and reasons of this. It's because of money. We won't care about others because it costs too much money, when others get upset because we did it incorrectly because others don't know either what's in the food or what could cause them to be ill, and when you can get that bag quicker than working 30 to 40 to 50 to 60. Which one is easier, to exchange 60 years of your time or to exchange maybe a year worth of your time going through a lawsuit? Well, who am I kidding? Lawsuits can be lengthy. I'm thinking roughly anywhere between 5 to 10 years. Have I ever been through one? Nope. Will I ever want to go through one? Probably not. But will I go through one? Maybe. Maybe. Who fucking knows? I hope not. But if I do, I hope it's quick as fuck. But it's just, life is all about making a quick buck for some people. And I am not a money oriented person. Like, I only want money because we need money, but at the same time, money is not what makes the world go. It's what makes the people go, though. And I'm like, not me, not me, not me, not me. I only want enough money so I could be free in all my madness and be able to create and produce whatever I want to, because money is what allows you to produce anything and everything. Like, the only difference between being bored and rich and being bored and poor is the way that people perceive you. And when you say bored and rich and bored and poor, what do you really mean? Because when you think of rich, or at least when I think of rich, 9 times out of 10, I think of materialistic shit. But I had one friend, I'm like, thank you. What? Sexy automated voice. You know who you are if you ever watch this. Also known as Jesse, and I know how to say I don't know how to say your last name. It's like Hogaton or some shit like that. But that's why I said sexy automated voice, because she sees this, she already knows I'm talking about her. But her last, no. She told me once that you're wealthy. I'm gonna paraphrase heavily because I don't fucking remember it 100%, but she made me realize that I'm wealthy in ways that I can't enjoy, and it's because I get stuck in the ways that the world wants to show me that wealth is in materialistic ways. But how do the rich people, without jumping to a conspiracy, how do the rich and wealthy people commit suicide with high rates of depression when they could literally buy anything and then go anywhere and have anything? But you're telling me you're still fucking sad with all that money. So you're telling me I could be a multi-millionaire and still fucking be going psychotic in my own mansion? Or I could be out in the streets and being happy, being around those that truly love and care for me, because community makes life worth it. Money takes you places. But sometimes you're getting stuck in between money and community, and it's like, I want to be able to have both of them. But time, ego, energy, something's getting in between community and freedom, or whatever the other one was. Either way, I realize a lot of things in life that doesn't make sense, and at the end of the day, even though every time I have this thought, it literally goes, I can hear it just like it was yesterday. You think it's a game. You always think it's a game. You think it's funny. You always think it's funny. It's just like, just a little bit. Because the more that I learn, the more that I realize you were wrong. I was right. And you could tell me I'm wrong. But that's fine. So I don't need to argue with idiots. I'm an idiot sometimes, and you can't tell me if I believe that I'm right. I gotta be shown that I'm wrong. So for the fact of the matter is, I'm just not trying to be a bad guy. But bad and good are such fluid concepts. It's just depending on what side of the fence you stand on. It depends on what color shirt you're wearing. It all depends on who is observing you when you do the things that you do. It's not always how you do or what you do. It's who are you doing it in front of. I just spend a lot of time with myself, even though like I consider myself to be socially antisocial. And I say it like that because if you're watching this off of my YouTube, which you're gonna have to because it's a long ass video, how the fuck does this motherfucker got 2,000 plus videos? Currently I'm at like 1,700, 1,800. I don't know. I could be at 2,000 plus videos at the making of this video. But how does this person have 2,000 plus videos on YouTube alone? That's not taking in consideration my TikTok. That's not TikToks. So I got that Black Blonde, I got the Ethan Florence Swarth out, and I've got the Blackie Chan, as well as I have a fourth account that I haven't been able to access. Not a second. Actually, I might have 5 accounts. I got a fourth one with like the watcher, and it's all it is my hand from where I was doing Ashball and seal coat in the photo of it, so people don't see my face, as well as, unless I'm using the watcher to post that. And then I have, no, it might be the watcher that has the drawings on it. I don't know. Either flipping way. I'm just trying to figure out who I am, and figuring that out is by being around and being around people and being around things I don't feel as if connect with me. And I think I know what connects with me, but I don't. Because that's all I'm doing is thinking, but about what? About who? About where? About when? About why? About I overloaded myself. But okay, let's get into the gratitude portion, even though I'm like fucking 30 minutes into it. So I'm grateful for the females that have uh, been patient with me. I'm very grateful for the men that have been patient with me. I'm grateful for the creatures that have been patient with me. I'm grateful for those that I do not know the preferred pronouns that have been patient with me. I am grateful for the love and support that I don't always see as love and support, because I would say I more or less get the tough love where it's like, here, do this. Yeah, I trust you to do this. Why? Because I trust it. Fuck up. I really don't want to fuck this up. That's not necessarily how I go. I don't want to hear you yell at me. I don't want to get that yuck feeling. Like, I don't feel comfortable failing, but if you don't feel comfortable failing, then how do you expect to succeed? Exactly. And it's about having humility in your fuck ups and being able to admit, whoopsie, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. And I'm sorry means nothing if you continue doing the thing that you apologize about, but an I'm sorry means something, especially if you say I'm sorry and you never do it again, or if it happens again, it's just like, you watch me, right? I did everything in my physical power to make sure that never happened again. And, and it did. And I'm truly sorry. So, I don't know. You're gonna react how you react, and how I react says a lot, too. I've been just trying to do my best not. Because there's this thing called reactive abuse, and I feel as if I just take a lot of things passively and numbingly, and like I hear what you said, but it's not really registering until like a couple days later, a couple weeks later, hell, sometimes even a couple months later, and I'll even extend that even more. A couple years later, like I'll hear what you said in the moment, but most of the times when I'm in life, I'm not present in it. I'm just kind of thinking about the past, thinking about the future, and then as time progresses, let's say the conversation we might have had 2 hours ago, I'm reviewing it 3 to 4 to 5 hours later, like, oh. Which is why it took me so long to believe, because like I didn't necessarily believe when everybody said you're crazy or weird or all. Like they all had their own way of saying that there's something different about you. Even sometimes they literally say it like that. There's something different. There's something special. There's something strange. There's something, and I'm just trying to figure out. I'm trying to be like that. I'm trying to be normal. What the fuck do you mean there's something different about me? Just let me blend in like everybody else. I just want to be. I don't know. I don't know what I want to be. That's the biggest issue. But I know I could be anything that I want to be, so it's just choosing one. So I write poetry, but I'm not a poet. So I work out. I'm not a fitness influencer. So I give advice. I'm not an influencer. So I help people. I don't work for any charities. So I play soccer. I'm not a soccer player. So I play video games. I'm not a gamer. So I ride bikes. I'm not a biker. So I make a bunch of videos, but I'm not a vlogger. And I post stuff on YouTube, but I'm not a YouTuber. Honestly, of all things, I think I'd get the most offended if you called me a YouTuber, and that's because the other names are associated with YouTubers and all this and all that. I think that's the main reason why I just, like, some things are compliments, some things are insults. It's just like, don't categorize me in a room that I do not. Don't categorize me in something I don't fit in. And, like, I don't feel as if I fit into one. So I'm not a YouTuber. I'm not a soccer player. I'm not a fitness influencer. I'm not an influencer in general. I'm just me. And I tend to do a couple of things, regardless if I know what I'm doing or what I'm not doing. I just know that I just searching for what drives me and motivates me. I think what motivates me is revolution, but I need to liberate myself before I can help anybody else. And what does self-liberation look like? But I will admit, the time in Ohio has probably been the quietest that my whole entire life has ever been. From 3 until 26, there has always been mentally and or physically disabled siblings. There's always been dogs. There's always been cats. There's always been kids. There's always been something that didn't allow me to really sit with myself. And like, I will admit, nothing goes as planned, which is why I don't fucking like making plans. Like this, I don't know what this was supposed to be 100%. I don't know what this Ohio move was supposed to be. Like I do know my own delusional mindset, but that that those images get shared quickly. But to redefine and recreate the bigger picture, it's because the way that was sold to me isn't how it always is, and the way that I sold it to myself isn't how it always is. But how I was sold is it was my new beginning, and I'm at least believing in that portion. It is my new beginning, and it is my fresh start. Because in Ohio, I do not have as many connections as I do in Michigan. And some are connections and some are distractions. And for the fact that I have the skills I didn't have while growing up to be able to communicate and blah this and blah that, but it's always getting stuck in my head of before I interact with somebody. You're weird. Stop that. Stop that. No, no, no. I go to interact with somebody. You're off. Stop. I go interact with somebody. Something in my head tells me not to. And it's because I don't know how you're going to receive me. And it's just like, I was trying to be nice, but you might think it's sexual harassment. I was trying to be nice, but you might think it's manipulation. I was trying to be nice, but you might think it's, and I'm just trying to be for the community. But I think a lot of what the world has done has made the community not want to be a part of the community. Or maybe I'm just living the fearful mindset, because don't get me wrong, just yesterday, within the recording this video, actually yesterday and the day before, I've talked to 7 people that I'll never talk to again. And I say it like that because I went on a walk, one of the parks around here, and I told myself I have to say something to 5 strangers, and I chose strangers that had dogs. And that's because what I've come to learn from my personal experience, at least, because everybody's experiences are different, is if I compliment somebody that's walking with a dog, it's easier to compliment on their dog than it is compliment them about their shoes or maybe their nails or maybe their hair or this or that. Because I don't know, to me it just seems a little bit more smoother, and it seems like I'm not going to want to come on to them. It seems like I'm not going to want to stalk them. And it seems like, I don't know, say you have a cute dog, just, or oh, what breed is that? I don't know. To me, it just seems like an easy way to start a conversation, and then they could unfold from there. But like, I just compliment the dog in more or less 2 to 3 lines past that. Like, nice dog, or what breed is that? We'll say a couple more things and go about our business. But it seems like I don't even try to do this, and I don't like it for the fact that I'm in sales. I don't like to be a salesman, and I don't know how to be a salesman, but I am one. And eventually, I have had a handful of sales jobs. No, I actually have had a handful of sales jobs. And it's how I learned sales, or how I think sales works, is convince them that they need your services and don't take no for an answer, and speak fluent enough, as well as informed enough, as well as fast enough to keep them to stop thinking and remember they need you, you don't need them. When in reality, you both need each other. But no, you can't convince them that. And it's like, depending on where you are in sales, I feel like the most successful person has learned to tell people, oh, there's a mouse. That's what I was hearing. Words I'm looking for. From my understanding, the best salesman, I should probably look to see if that motherfucker has built up a nest or something somewhere. Then now I think about it, probably have to be underneath that couch, since that's where it went. Either fucking way. Back to the point. The most successful salesman has learned how to mystique. Shapeshift is essentially what I was getting at. Mystique was just what popped in my head, because who doesn't know X-Men's Mystique? Because they have to shapeshift more or less into their customer, or something, or someone that their customer respects, loves, this and that. And it's because who doesn't want to help family? For those that actually love family and care about family, and treat the family as that strong pillar that a lot of society has made me believe it to be, but life has taught me family is very flexible, as well as good and bad. And it's just like, that's blood, And some of the things that you've done to blood makes me want to see your blood. But that's not I'm not karma. I can't take care of anybody else's problems but mine. And my biggest problem is trying to figure out what do I enjoy in life that doesn't imprison me. Back to the point. I just want to be authentic. But my authenticity scares people. And I don't think I'm being intense. And I don't think I'm being chaotic. And I don't think. And that's probably why. Because I'm thinking, but like when it comes to me, like I can take the pain. I can take the distance. I can take whatever you give me and turn it into something that you didn't even expect it to be. And that's the problem with me, because sometimes I've realized I have to fail. Because if I don't fail, how am I going to learn, for one? And also, two, if I don't fail, then how are they going to learn to respect me and give me more, what's the word I'm looking for? More screw up room. Because if you're perfect, why'd you mess it up? Come on, you're perfect. You can't mess it up. You're perfect. Perfection does never messes up. So, Mr. Perfect, you do that every single time. 10 out of 10. I don't want to hear no 9 out of 10. I don't want to hear no 8 out of 10. I don't want to hear no 7 out of 10. I want a 10 out of 10 every fucking time. And that's my problem, because I used to somewhat try to be a perfectionist, but what I have to realize about that is if they expect 10 out of 10 all time, 5 out of 5, 7 out of 7, 1 out of 1, then that's just like, whoa. Granted that some things, even on my bad days, I'm still killing. Like, you give me weights, on my bad days, I'm still lift good and heavy. You give me a soccer ball, on my bad days, I'm still school motherfuckers. You give me a notebook and pen, on my bad days, I'm still outright somebody. There's some things, no matter if it's on my bad days or my good days, I'm still do good, spectacular, above board for most. But you could even take me on my good and great and amazing days and switch me to something I'm not shit in. I'm just not gonna be shit in it. It goes back to that testing a monkey's ability to swim and a fish's ability to climb. They're always going to fail because that's not where they're supposed to be. But you test the fish on its swimming ability and the monkey on its climbing ability, and all of a sudden now they're fucking excelling. People were never testing me on my abilities. They're testing me off of other people's abilities, and I don't even know what my abilities are. It's just like, if I had to go off of what people have told me, I'm charming, I'm blunt, I'm intense, I'm wavery, I'm whatever you think I am, in short. Like, I don't know, it'd be too long because there's too much processing to do in my head. And there's just too many voices, too many thoughts, just too many people, too easiest way to give me a fucking, like, sometimes, like, here's a simple question that's not a simple question to me. What's your name? Birth one or adopted one? How many siblings do you have? Technically or literally? There's no such thing as a simple question to me. I just answer questions quick because, well, it shouldn't take that long. Come on, I asked you how many siblings you have. Birth-wise, I think none, but adopted-wise, it all depends on the time of the year, to be honest, because, like, we had some that were getting adopted in. We also had some foster siblings, and then like, because technically speaking, today I have no siblings. If you want to consider it like that. But then there's some people's like, well, like, they're still my siblings even though we don't see each other. I'm just like, I don't know. Blood-wise, I am an orphan. Legally speaking, I actually don't know the real number, legally speaking, because I don't know how many of them the adoptions went through and all this and all that. But, like, I don't fucking know. I don't know. I just know there's one funeral I'm never attending, another one I might. And I only say it like that because I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know where life's going to take me, but for the fact it keeps waking me up, it's taking me somewhere. And I've already been at the bottom. And I've heard about the top. I feel as if I'm just sitting in the middle. Because I hurt for nothing, really. Like, I'm very fortunate to know people that will let me stay with them, split bills. I'm very fortunate to be able to communicate and make new connections. I'm very fortunate to be blessed with this genetic fuckery that makes me pretty enough that people tolerate me for some of the things that other people don't tolerate me for. I'm very blessed that I am able to communicate as well as change my thought process. I'm very blessed that uh, I always encounter special people. I'm very blessed and grateful that the universe always informs me. There is no secrets, just things that people refuse to believe. Yeah, well, if that's it. No such thing as secrets. Like, all the truth is there, just because you haven't heard it. Or you might know, but do you know why you know and how you know? It's just, well, now you know. And I don't know what I know until I know. It's like, Ethan, I didn't know you knew I'd do that. Neither did I. And I'm not kidding when I say that. There's been a handful of things where I've tried it for the first time. I'm like, oh, I don't test myself because I don't really know how to. Like, the things I really want to do are meant for. It all depends on what group you consider it to be. Because how I think about it, they're all essentially the same thing. It's just made up differently, regardless if you consider it the government, the mob, or gangsters. What do they do? Orchestrate. What does that mean? I don't fucking know. But what I do know is they're all essentially the same thing when it comes to they organize things. They tax people or extortion, whatever the fuck you want to call it. They protect people. So they say some really do and some really don't. And who are they protecting? Well, typically it's those that have the money. And those that don't have the money, well, you have to learn how to protect yourself. And don't you bother us while you're protecting yourself. Because then now we have to imprison you, if not beat you, if not somehow enslave you through having you work with us, for us, or under us. Either way, you gotta fucking pay if you're going to exist. And I feel like most of my payment's just a torment inside my own brain, because outside in this reality, I don't really feel much bothered aside from when it comes to communicating. I just figure, well, if I don't say much, I can't say anything wrong. And if I say enough, maybe I can explain why you misunderstood me. But it doesn't matter if I say enough, I say too much, or I don't say enough. You're gonna take the information however the fuck you want it to. Rather you're offended, rather you're delighted, or rather you are pleased. The answers I gave you were satisfactory enough for me, and I'm not sorry that they're not satisfactory enough for you. I just know I wasn't violent. That's all that matters to me. Was I violent today? No. Did I hurt anybody today? No. Did I aid somebody in the destruction of others? No. I'm truly trying to be peaceful, but what I also realize is there's no way to stand in the middle and not to choose sides, because eventually you have to choose a side. You can't be in the middle, but I want to be, because I don't really care which side wins. Life's just a game to me. But no, I really do care what side wins, more or less. Because if I am to reproduce and have kids of my own that probably might think maybe even remotely like me, I want them to have a world that they feel accepted in instead of a world that they're just in. I feel like this is just the world I'm in. And when I'm around certain people, it feels like a world I'm accepted in. But I also realize through what I think of them is what I learned about myself. Because I'm like, wow, you guys are crazy. You guys are psychotic. You guys are weird. And I absolutely love your company. So what does that say about me? To know what you guys have done. And I'm more than pleasant, more than energetic, more than elated to be around you. That's the funny thing about me. Rather you're in a jumpsuit, and I don't know if that's because of criminal reasons, entertainment purposes, or pastoralic reasons. It's not a word, that's why I'm having such an issue reading it, saying it, not reading it. Pastoralic, you're a pastor essentially. What I'm trying to get at is, I know many people from many different walks of lives, and that's because it's not what you do that made you important to me, it's how you think. And how you think, regardless of where you're at, is going to always be what makes you special, because just because you're in a notable position doesn't mean you have a noble. Just because you're in a noble position, you goofy, doesn't mean you have a noble brain. And some people are in unnoble positions but have the most wholesome, stoic, hardcore truth and utmost justice hearts, and I try my best to stick to those people because I try to be a noble person. But how about this? Because I thought about this, and I've had that as an option in Saints Row, which is why I feel as if that's what makes it perfect. If I remembered correctly, in Saints Row 3, towards the end, the gaming version of it, the Saints Row 3, when it stopped doing about the gangsters, it turned to like the game and all this and all that. Maybe it was Saints Row 4. Either way, the fucking aliens shit like that. And if I remember correctly, it gave you the option to kill yourself and give world peace, or because I might be remembering incorrectly, because like I said, the brain be a funny thing, or just I'm not the best at remembering things word for word, which is why I try to take photos and videos as much as possible. Or what was the second option? Continue fighting and become president or some shit like that. I don't know. I did for sure kill myself to get world peace first, because I figured if I'm not here perceiving the world, then the world can have peace. But for me to be here perceiving the world and trying to change the world in the ways that I am, like I don't expect anybody to be like me or want to be like me, because I don't like me most of the times. And I still have a lot of purging parts of me that I still have to do. I still have a lot of growing, and I will always have growing to do until the day that I die. But one of these days, I hope to be somebody I'm proud to know. I'm just me until I'm not. And I feel as if I'm very grateful to have the ability to change and not be chained. Because the worst version of me was little kid me. An adult me at least has the information that little kid me didn't have. And to have the information now is just to be just as crazy as I used to be. But at least I can put in the words of why you think I'm crazy instead of just saying I'm crazy, I'm weird, I'm strange, I'm deranged, I'm an old soul, I'm, 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 I am whatever you think I am, whatever you think I am, and I'm not trying to be any worse. I'm still trying to be the best version of me, and that's me inside of a hearse. I'm not kidding. That's the worst part, because people wish I was. For those that actually truly believe when I say my mental health isn't the best, I'm either going to die one or two ways. Uncle Sam do it, or I do. And the way it's going, it might be me. But honestly, for as fast as time change, Uncle Sam might be like, too many people be listening to him. We need to shh. Or maybe I might do something so revolutionary to a life that it's like, whoa, this motherfucker's taking out the oil company, or starting a battle with big oil, or this motherfucker's fucking with the pharmaceutical industry. No, you do not mess with the bees. You leave the bees alone. You fuck with the M's and you fuck with the thousands, but once you go up to B, old Bertha gonna knock the fuck out you. You don't fuck with Betsy. She been around for a long ass time, and she gonna be around for a long ass time after you. And we're just gonna say you've been suicidal ever since you were young. And don't get me wrong, I have been suicidal. I've been suicidal ever since I figured this whole entire shit out. And that's the problem. Being awake when everybody else is asleep. Am I crazy? It's your job to figure it out, not mine. I know I'm not gonna hurt you. Well, depending on who you are. I do have a shit list, but I'm waiting to hear that bell go first. Either way, I'm grateful. I just suck at remembering to be. So thank you for those that have given me time. Thank you for those that have given me energy. Thank you for those that have respected me. Thank you for those that want to learn me. Thank you for those that have been patient with me. And thank you for those that will get to meet the new experience that is me. Mm-hmm. One of these days, I'm going to throw parties. Do a Gatsby thing before I leave. One last hurrah with the people that I enjoy to be around instead of the people that enjoy to be around me, which isn't always the same group. Thank you. Sometimes it's flattering, sometimes it's too. Feeling's not mutual, but it'd be rude for me to tell you that. So I'm just going to avoid you and not communicate with you. I'm just going to do respectfully. But who am I disrespecting by not telling you? I don't know. But I won't be fake, I'll tell you that. I won't be any faker than I need to be. And it's all I have to be is so not creepy for the community. Don't forget to open up and show your teeth. Too much. Too much. Too much. But we're used to hearing that shit. Thank you for listening to me and my madness. Until next time, I guess. I don't know where life's taking me. Well, yeah, I do. It's taking me to death, but the detours on the way, I don't fucking know.